No, I just pressed the button now. I still don't understand when it ever goes live, even at the show. What's up, Profitable Stylist? Here we go. We are live this week coming at you with Bernard from.
You know where I am? DC.
You don't know where you are. Washington, D.C. All right.
So we're traveling with another couple friends of ours that's helping us with social media marketing for the business. They have an 8-year-old. We have a 10-year-old. They're both homeschooled. So my wife and his wife said, I think it was more my wife's idea, like, let's go to DC in between the Chicago and Pennsylvania hair shows and do some American history homeschooling in DC at the museums. I was like, oh, these spoiled kids. I mean, that's a homeschooling lesson, right? I mean, we're riding scooters from museum to museum, eating at the fanciest restaurants, and they're enjoying it. They're learning some stuff, and of course, I don't know if this is American history, but we saw the dinosaurs in the dinosaur museum. I don't know what, Natural Museum of Natural History. Yeah, because that's natural. And so when we got to this one exhibit where it said, this is the dinosaurs that existed in North America. I said, okay, so that's American
Okay.
history.
That's awesome.
This hair show, Chicago, I have lost my voice. I've lost my lips. I'm cracking in the corners here. The dry air's got my skin so dry. I'm itching everywhere. And I still freaking love the hair show. But I tell you what, my body's taking a bit of a toll. I feel like a fighter. I just came out of a fight and I've got to heal for a few days. And I'm going to do it again this weekend in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
No,
What am I saying?
Pennsylvania. Well,
Pennsylvania.
Pittsburgh. At least it's in the same state. At least you got the state right.
Right. Yeah.
We fly
tell me.
out Sunday. Yeah, we fly out Sunday, and then we'll be in Pennsylvania Sunday afternoon to set up. And then the show is Monday and Tuesday.
So yes, it's Monday
Yeah,
and
Monday and
Tuesday,
Tuesday.
Pennsylvania. It's not too late for some people to show up. I know in my own salon, we had hired a new girl as an assistant, apprentice, or probably apprentice her as a barber. And she was just in the salon for like a week or two. And just a couple of days before Chicago, she said, hey, if I pay for my own ticket and come to Chicago, can I help at the booth? Yes. And she ended up being one of the, I mean, I shouldn't say better, but way better than I expected for a brand newbie, not quite licensed, didn't know the answers to the questions. She figured it all out. And by the end of the show, she put the headset mic on, started talking to people through the speaker. When we were in a private room doing the class, she just picked up the mic. Nobody else was doing it. And she went to speaking on a mic. She'll remember that for the rest of her life.
Mm-hmm.
But over the weekend, a friend of mine, we used to always do this with our kids when they were younger. We used to play high-low. And so a friend of mine did this at dinner with Eddie, and he said, so Eddie, what was your high and what was your low? Was it for the day or the weekend?
No, it was for the day. And then we ended up doing the weekend because I had so much fun doing it with him for the day. And I want to thank Jude so much for doing that for me because it really did leave an impression. And I thought that was super cool. And I wanted to share that with everybody, with the Profitable Stylist, because it's something that I've always done something kind of similar to myself, and I do it daily and I do it weekly with myself, but the way Jude did it to me was a lot more concise or concise or precise. Which way is the right way to say that? Either way, it was awesome. And thank you, Jude. I really appreciate it.
So tell me, how did it work? What did he ask you and what happened?
I don't remember.
Yes, you did. So
No.
what was interesting is that his low, well, I'm just going to say it on the surface and just blow everybody's mind.
And then we'll put the context back.
Yeah, then we'll put the context. So his low was putting hair extensions on my wife's head. Now, the context is we're in a classroom. I had put a weft on her head, clipped it in place, pulled the hair through the loops, and did the beads for about halfway. And my plan was to put the other half, the weft, in front of the crowd. But I started talking too much, as I often do, and I realized I'm never going to get to that hair. So I just kind of whispered to Eddie, go finish putting that weft in on my wife's head. And all I know is at the end of it, this is like those movies that they show from different perspectives.
It's like a Guy Ritchie film, right?
Yeah. So my perspective is he's just gonna wipe out that half the web. He's done this a lot of times. It'll just be fine. We'll move on. At the end, he tells me something that I don't understand until dinner. He says, well, that is the slowest I've ever put a weft in. And all I could think was, loser, slowpoke. Why are you? I mean, that's fine. It was in front of a class. You need to go slow, show technique, let everybody kind of see the details. But I don't know why you're bragging about it.
Yeah, right.
So terrible at putting a weft in. I'm like, that was the slowest ever? I mean, okay, speed up, practice a little more. Don't tell me your shortcomings. I don't care. Get better.
I'm sitting next to Jude, and Jude goes, what is your high and low of the day? And I'm saying, all right, I don't, so he explains it to me how it works, and what is the high means, what is your achievement? What are you the most proud of today? And then the low, what are you the most disappointed in, or what is the thing that stressed you out the most today? So I really had to sit there, and I thought about it, and I said, Vincey.
What was your high? What was your high first? We'll make people wait for that low.
Well, my high was the classrooms. My high was the engagement in the classrooms. We had intelligent people in every class that we had. They really asked great questions. A couple of them even asked a couple of tough questions. And it was awesome because there is something that happens. Okay, so anybody that's an educator out there, or anybody that's a hairdresser or a student that's been in a class, when the educator knows what's up, and you can connect with that educator, and you're like, yes, this guy is saying exactly what I want to hear, or that he's explaining it differently than any other way I've ever heard it, right? But then for us educators, we hear the same stupid ass questions every single time, over and over and over and over. So the challenge mainly becomes is, how do you field that question nicely to retain the person's honor so you don't make them feel stupid and help them? You get tired of answering the same question. So it's like, man, come on, this is basic stuff. But it's our job. We have to perform. We have to make them feel like that's a question, right?
And in this case, I felt like we had much more intelligent questions. People that had a little bit more
much more intelligent. Yes, they were great questions. So that was my high, because it was like, man, I get to dig deep into my knowledge well. I actually get to answer questions. Like, yes, this is what I'm talking about. So it was cool. That was my high. That definitely was my high.
And then you had trouble finding the low, huh? And my wife was your low.
So I had to think about it for a second. It's like, we really didn't, I don't think we had any low points. So I'm thinking there. I'm like, all right, nothing went wrong. Nobody got mad. Nobody walked out and cussed. Like, nothing went wrong. Like, nothing went bad. And then I was like, all right, at the booth was fun. Everything was great at the booth. We hit every expectation we wanted to hit. So then I'm really thinking about it. All right, well, what was stressful? Vincey was stressful. And it's like, so then here's me. I go, Jude, Vincey was my low. And Jude, the look on his face was like,
maybe you shouldn't say anymore, right?
Right? He's like, what are you talking? And then, so all concerned, all of a sudden, he got all serious. He got all concerned. He's like,
tell me more.
What are you talking about? Right, yeah. What do you mean Vincey was your low? I'm like, all right, dude, it was Vincey. Like, we do clients all day, every day. We do models every weekend. Like, it doesn't matter. I don't, how many times on how many lives have I said, I don't care. I'm doing the hair. I'm doing my job. I'm really good at doing my job. I freaking rock. And there is no problem. Nothing stresses me out. Look, it's hair. You can always redo it, right? Until you do care.
And then I introduced my wife.
And then Vincey.
And I said, this is my wife. She has never, ever worn hair extensions in our 23 years of marriage. She just never wanted them, never wanted to try them, which is very odd. They could be for free. And so I said, this is our first time ever wearing extensions. she said when she walked on stage, I am nervous. I said, I'm nervous also because I have no idea if she's going to like this hair or not. Many people do, but it's going to be a big thing. I get it now. Because
and you said that in the class, and you said that to the classroom, right? And I love Vincy. I really, really look at Vincy in a special way. She's awesome, and she's your wife, and I have a high regard and a high respect for you as well too. And now
there's the problem.
It's her first, right? It's too close. I was too close. So then it's her first experience, and she's particular, which is fine. That's okay. But she's particular with you.
Very
particular. Now you've got half the head in your way, and now I got to put the other half the head in my way.
The wrong way. Oh,
I mean, right. The wrong way. So like that in itself isn't gonna it's gonna feel different, regardless of how good or bad anybody is. That by itself is gonna feel different, right? And then you had not discussed that with her up front, so she was not mentally prepared.
No,
for that change up.
Oh, look. When I said, Eddie, put the other half, she looked at me like a little puppy dog. She just gave me those eyes. Like, what? What? I didn't even know if it was a good, a bad, a sad. I couldn't tell. My wife looks, and she just looked at me, and she tells me later, that look, like I'm going to get all of this out of a look. Of course, they expect you to get this out of a look. But she says, that look meant, okay, it's fine if he puts the hair in, but you better not ask him to cut my hair, because we had already talked about this. And even you, if you cut them, I did not want my personal hair to be touched in case I didn't like them. I wanted them to come out and look all the same. I said, and you thought I was going to get all of that from a look?
But look, this is a great example of all the internal insanity that happens when you're dealing with a client, right?
Right.
Now I get down there and I start combing her hair, and I'm sitting there going like this. Is that okay? Am I combing it too hard? She's like, no, it's fine. I can barely feel it. I'm like, yes, okay, good. All right. It's like tippy toe in the water, right?
Right.
And then it's like, all right, well, I got to start doing this. So I'm sitting there and I'm pulling it through. I'm like, am I pulling too hard? Is that okay? She's like, no, it's fine. It's okay. I'm like, well, she's not saying much, but she's not saying bad. And I don't feel her body like flinching or anything. Like, okay, I think I got this. I think that's okay. And normally you would just
5 minutes in after I ask you to start, and I look and I'm like, they're doing nothing. I said, Eddie, you can go ahead and get started now. Go do it. When I say go ahead and do the other half the left, I meant like right now.
Yeah, like right now, right. Here's me parting the section and detail combing.
Cleaning up the part, right.
It was so funny. It was so funny. And I was so proud of myself when I was done doing it. I'm like, wow, this is the longest I've ever taken on a client before. This is how much I care. And here's me, I'm all excited. I'm like, Bernard, this is the longest I ever took to put a weft in. And you're like, stupid loser, why did it take you so long? What were you waiting for? I'm like, hey, I cared. I actually cared for once, and you're like, yeah, whatever, man. We're running behind. Come on, we got to go. I'm like, all right, fine.
Right. Class is over. We got to get out the room. Like, people are trying to get in. I don't want to hear about your shortcomings and how slow you are at doing hair. Let's move on, buddy. I got no idea that you are dying inside.
Right? I need a hug.
It's funny. You never know what people are going through, ever. Well, I guess sometimes you do, but it's funny how much can be going on to somebody you think you know really well, and you should possibly be able to read all of this. And some do it better than others. That I got to hand to like people like my wife. She can say, go talk to so-and-so. They're going through a lot right now. Did she tell you something? No, just look at her. Well, I can't tell anything.
It's the look. Can't you tell? It's the look. Learn the look.
My wife can read your profile on Facebook, not yours, anybody's. And she'll tell me, she'll say, oh, so-and-so's getting ready to go through a divorce. I'm like, wait, what? What did they say? They didn't say anything. I can just tell by what they're posting. I'm like, oh, my Lord. She's like, oh, so-and-so, they have a great relationship, or they don't. How do they read this stuff? I'm not person. I wish I read people better. I just don't. I have other skills.
No, and we're getting the comment that's saying, don't let me fool anybody. I really do care about the client, which is, I do. I do. I just, I
What
care about
comment
being,
did you get? That you need to care more?
that don't be fooled when I say I don't care. I actually do care.
Oh, right, right. I know. I do too. I do too. I care about them all. But the more you know someone,
It really is, right? So isn't that like what
yeah.
they say in medical and in other things? It's like you shouldn't do operation if you're a doctor on your family members, or you shouldn't
Oh,
do.
that's right. That's right. Yeah, you're right. 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 That you're too close to it. Even in the police force, they don't want a person doing detective work if their own wife or
Oh
child
yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
abducted. You work differently when you're emotionally involved, and I guess there's a difference between being analytical and emotional. Some things you do want to work out of emotion, like artwork and hair. Sometimes the passion is great for the artwork, but in some things the job needs to be done thoughtfully, and you can't do it when you're too close to it. So in your case, I don't know, I think it was the right thing to do. Slow down and just do her hair really good. There was nothing wrong with that, and it's not life or death.
No,
It's not like
I know, but it was like dinner was so funny. We were having such a laugh, and we tried to tell Vincy, I think 3 or 4 times, and she was just off in other conversations. We never got around to actually explaining it to her. But you and I and Jude, you and I had such a laugh, talking about high and low of the day. And then we went around we actually started going around the table and asking other people around us too. So share with everybody, what was your high and low of the weekend or of that day?
Yeah, yeah. So it was fun. It was fun. Are you asking me now?
Yes.
Oh, I don't know. I am low. Oh man,
If you could remember anything, there's such a blur. The whole weekend, it goes by in the blur.
yeah. It's you know what? I've actually got a list going right now. I just sent it to RJ of just all the things we could have done better, and the things that didn't go great, the things we could have done better. Do we want the booth again for next year? Was it worth it? I love the aftermath of a show and trying to do it better the next time. But if I had to pick a high during the weekend, it's probably what I just text RJ and my son Brennan separately. I said, guys, one of y'all, Brennan, can you bring some hair to do Shannon's hair? Because Shelby sold Shannon's hair to a hairdresser at the show. So Shelby sells hair no matter where she is. She can be at a doctor's appointment. She sells the nurse hair extensions. She can be at a grocery store and she sells somebody there. She was at a school one time. Somebody else was graduating and she drove them to take their test. And she was their ride. They didn't have a vehicle. She's waiting in a parking lot. She sells another hairdresser hair extensions. I mean, she sells hair extensions anywhere. So we had somebody buy the class while they're there. She said, I hate online training. And I said, well, I mean, if you feel like you just got it from watching us, I get it. You get the online training with your price, but you don't have to watch it. Use it as a backup. She said, would somebody show me while we're here? I said, you know what? Since you're the first one buying a class, we're going to go out of our way to train you here. Shelby, take her to that model prep area. And then before you know it, that girl came with another girl. And she said, do you think we have her hair? I'm going to put hair on her in the hotel room tonight. And and I said, oh, I don't think we have hair. And Shelby said, Shannon's hair. I said, I wanted to use her as a model this weekend. She said, what do you want me to do? I said, sell the hair.
Profitable stylist, baby.
Yeah, we'll find another model that fits the color hair we have. So I've got Brendan bringing the missing hair so that we could do Shannon in Pennsylvania. But yeah, it was just like, my high was just like, wow, sell hair anywhere it can. When people say I can't sell, don't have the clients for it, and I look at somebody like Shelby who just sells a head of extensions anywhere she is in this little Podo. I mean, I live in Slidell. She is in Madisonville, in an even smaller town. She came from an even smaller town, and there's no limitations. She made two of her paychecks last month. I might have said them on the last live or two. I mean, she's generally making $2,000 to $3,000 a week consistently. And last month she made two paychecks. One was $4,200 for the week, and this is commission, and one was 4,700 for the week. So she's bringing in about twice that in the salon.
Good
And
job.
now I spend, I don't even know exactly how much, but we spend a lot of money on marketing and advertising to try to help also. So, I mean, some of that is us helping bring clients into the salon, and I disperse them to all the hairdressers in the salon. I mostly advertise hair replacement and hair extensions. And how can I not give the lion's share to the top two extensionists in the salon when nobody else has time, and I want extensions to stay in well, and it's a brand new one, and they want to come at a certain time, and nobody else is available? Shelby will make time available to get it in because she wants to make that number. Brennan is a big extensionist in the salon. Mariah is probably a close third. And there's a few other stylists in the salon that want to do extensions, but they don't have the practice yet, so they don't stay in as well. And that's just the name of the game. The better you are, the better they stay in, the more people want you if you're good. So it's a tough hurdle to get over. You just got to do a little bit of practice, get a little better. Then you start getting that word of mouth, like, her extensions stay in really good. Her extensions look really good. She cuts them really good, you know? So all of that matters. And Shelby's there. She's at that top right now. And so it's fun to watch that. Low for the weekend for me is, this is all business stuff for me. It's not as creative. I look at all the things we could have done better, and I can't help it. Like, we could have did a different booth set up. I wish the stage would have been in front of the big HTB banner, and we'd have had some chairs in front of the stage, and we'd have drew people into the booth.
Okay.
And then we could have shared, still been on the floor in the corner and had the other vendors around the edges. And I looked at some other booths and how they were doing it. It's kind of how they did. And then we would have 10 or 15-minute spots of just power blasting a certain topic or information, and jump off and let somebody else on. And not only all the topics of extensions, but we could have let Xenogen get up there and talk a little bit about their product, and then the Therapy could have jumped up there and talked for a couple of minutes, or anybody can. And just all throughout the day, the stage is to keep presenting all the different products. And even if it's all extension centric, it's like extensions are because people are losing hair. So how do you take care of the hair better, or how do you get some of that hair to grow back? And I think everything could have been synergistic, you know, using all the products along with hair extensions. Even color, all nutrient. That's one of the things that Jude noticed. Is he said, I didn't know John was quite the colorist. He said John and Eddie could so be putting all nutrient color on hair extension clients on that stage, showing color on the stage, especially since we don't sell vibrant colors. Y'all could be doing the vibrant colors. You could be doing the ombres, the balayages, the rooted color, the melts, whatever, you know, techniques, but also on extensions, because people are customizing their extensions. So then you got a little short color application class, but it's also extension centric, possibly, or not. Doesn't have to be, because it's about all nutrient, but it could be about extensions also. And then the same thing with the other brands. I don't know them all as well, but how they all fit into extensions or not with extensions. But it would be just short little bursts of how this culture works. So that's
a great low, actually. That really is and that's a great advice, and it's a great point. Of course, in hindsight, you tell us now when the show's over. Think of these things sooner next time.
I didn't know what the whole layout was. Right. And so having Shannon and Vincey pop in that first day and just start moving our banners around and saying, oh, Jude says, oh, you think a stage would be better? Yeah, let's get one. I'm like, I don't even know if we can last minute. I don't even know what it costs. He said, is it worth it? I said, let me find out. And then he says, we go to Best Buy and get a speaker and a microphone. I don't think it would have been as loud as what they ended up providing. We ended up renting, and it saved a lot of time. But then when we got to the show, and those other booths were so loud, so loud, I was still yelling, or not yelling, but talking too loud on the mic.
No, you have to project your voice really hard, yeah.
And I'm just starting to get my voice back. I'm still a little hoarse. I'm just starting to get my voice back from the weekend. 3 days of talking all day is it's taxing. I love it. I enjoy it. I thrive on it. But even when I thought I had no voice, the second day I started to get nervous. Like, this is the best day, and I've already lost my voice. I'm not gonna be able to talk as much. I'm gonna have to let Eddie talk.
You're so funny. You come on Sunday. You're like, okay, you're gonna have to do a lot of the talking. My voice hurts. I go, okay, yeah, sure. I'll do some talking today. And I introduced myself, and then an hour and a half later, you're like, all right, let's go. Let's go back down to the booth.
No, you talked about color a little bit.
I'm teasing. I'm teasing you. I'm teasing you.
Yeah. So actually, even Jude said, as a third party watching in, he said that that second day, between you, Eddie, and Barbara, you all spoke your piece, your passion, and all got to share quite a bit more. Because the first day is true. I was so nervous that I did do almost all the talking. I just started talking. I forgot that y'all were there.
No, thank you for letting me say hi on Saturday to everybody.
Right. I did let you introduce yourself after I introduced.
You're very kind. You're very, very
Yeah.
kind, sir.
Yeah. And Barbara also. Yeah.
No, it was
And
fun, man. It was fun. So then what are we looking forward to in Pennsylvania?
so it's a much smaller show, and I hate to say this for the Chicago people, but I'm going to be honest. I love all the shows. I like the small shows. My heart is in the small shows. Places like Chicago, it the little conversations I get, I like to connect with people, and it's difficult at a big show, big sound. So many people want to connect with you, and you can't connect with them all because, I mean, I already got a couple of comments on Facebook. I don't know if you saw it. One girl said, "I saw you, but you shooed me away." And I'm like, I didn't. I didn't shoo any. I don't even know what that means. Like,
You told them, yeah, be gone, peasant.
no time.
That's
No
what
time for you.
right?
Right.
That's what it makes me think of. We don't do like that.
So, well, I kind of did, but not because I felt the problem was we had a schedule. So I was on my way to the classroom, and I do remember a couple of people saying, "Oh, can I ask you something?" I said, "I'm so sorry. I've got to be in that classroom in 10 minutes. I've got to run, come back a little bit later." So maybe that's a shoe off or something. But when I had somebody, it could feel like it if you're on the other side, you know? So when I had something to do, people were trying to talk to me, and I have to end it. When we were leaving, a girl was asking how a beaded topper works, and we didn't really show that much, but we had a couple. And so I started showing her, and then she goes, "Show me how to put it on." And I said, "I'm going to miss my flight, but I'm going to set you up with Mariah. She knows how to do the beaded topper." And so I did put her with someone, and they probably thought, I'm not important enough for them. But I had a plane to catch. And so, so some people probably felt that. But something about a smaller show, the stage experience with the chairs and the classroom. So we'll have a stage, and that's one of the things I wish we'd got on a main stage at the Chicago show too, and be able to present to a bigger crowd at one time and do a little bit more of a sales pitch, because I think a lot of people don't even understand the on-stage extensions. My most fun, and I'll go back to the Pennsylvania thing.
Mhm.
My most fun thing that I'm starting to notice at the shows is the bead is so hidden, it almost should be called invisible beads. I know there's a company out there, I believe it might even be called invisible
They're
bead. I'm
using
not
it as a
sure.
technique, yeah.
Yeah. So the beads, I was even using black beads with blonde hair just to show how you cannot see the bead. It doesn't even matter what color bead you use, even though we have all the color beads because it makes people feel comfortable. And I guess if you pull the hair up on a weft, you see the beads underneath. But one girl, she looks at it and she goes, there's no string. What's holding it in?" I said, "Well, you just watch me put it in." She goes, "I know, and I still don't get it." And I said, "Well, ma'am, it's magic." Maybe that's what we should have named it, Magic Wefts.
Magic
so
webs.
I said, "It's just floating there." I said, "So watch, if I do like this with my hand, it'll come towards me." And she looked at me like, "Well, I'm not stupid." And I mean, I was starting to have a little too much fun with it. She was an older lady, and she looked at me like, "How is it in there?"
You're right.
And so I grabbed a little sample, and I said, "Here's the beads." And then I picked up the weft, and she said, "Oh, I still don't get it." But I said, "Right, no string, no needle, no tying. It's different than you've ever seen before. So your mind just can't wrap around it. You've never seen this before. You've seen beads, you've seen wefts, you know all the ways they go in. So it's got to be one of those combinations." And you start racking your brain, and then you're like, "Wait, some of the pieces and parts are missing. it's there's no string, needle, there's no tape. Sometimes you put it in a little smaller, it looks like a tape. It literally looks like it's floating there. So maybe it is a tape end. But wait, there was no tape. So it is kind of blowing people's minds. And that was a lot of fun for me because I'm like, okay, now watch slow, almost like a card trick. Watch how that card disappears, and if with a little sleight of hand, you can make something look like magic. And I'm not even trying to do sleight of hand. You just don't see it because the bead literally gets squeezed when it's behind the hair, maybe even through the hair. So they don't actually see the bead when it happens sometimes. And some people are just like, oh my God. and so the passion and the level of people that go, this is too easy.
It's too easy. That's the whole thing all weekend. It's too easy. I don't understand what's holding the hair in. I'm like, dude, okay, let me show you again, and let me show you again, and let me show you again. And how many times? Every single classroom, everybody. I don't get it. This is just too ridiculous. This is too easy. I don't understand. It's like, yeah, I know. I know.
And so then a few of them were like, so why would anybody use string? I don't
know.
Right.
Why are you?
And we are growing pretty fast, and we do have hundreds of people, probably in the low thousands now nationwide, but it hasn't taken off like some of these larger extension companies. We're not spending millions advertising it. We're letting it take off slowly so we can keep up with demand for the most part. We're doing well as a company. We don't have investors that we have to impress and pay millions to. Yeah. So it was a good idea. It's a great product. We have great quality hair. We've got great inventory right now. I think it's a little bit of a balance. I don't know if we had a big investor come by and say, hey, let's get a celebrity to endorse us. So all hairdressers want to do it. We might not be able to keep up with the demand. So I'm not mad at our we could grow a little bit faster and I'd be happy, but I'm not mad at the amount of growth and success and how people are liking it. So we're doing some shows because we do want more customers, but I don't even know if we could handle ridiculously fast growth. But I think it's going to come after a few hair shows because people are so blown away. But right now it's more like that disbelief thing. People are like, wait, what? And so that has been,
it's a cool feeling.
Really fun. It wouldn't be my high, but it's a lot of fun. And so at a small hair show, I can slow down, and there's a good chance that when I'm on the stage or in a private classroom, that I'll have the majority of the whole place there because there's so much fewer. There's in the hundreds, sometimes just a few thousand people. So by the time 2 days comes and I do 2 classrooms, 2 stage experiences, and the booth, we will most likely have talked to every single person at that show because the amount of booths I think is like 40 compared to we were booth number 1001 in Chicago. And when I said that to Jude, he goes, 1001? Did they start at number 1? I said, they probably started at 100, but even if they
100.
Started at
no, they start at 100 and I think it went to, somebody was asking me where the 4,000 or 5,000 booth was or something like that. So.
Right. So that's what I said. I said, well, look right there. There's booth number 3,000. So we know there's a few thousand booths here compared to 40 booths. So at 40 booths, we'll get to know all the other vendors. You'll have to be friendly with everybody because it matters. You can't, right. At a big show, somebody at another booth plays loud music and you're getting a little frustrated and if you wanted to complain to the show people, like, I think they're too loud. Nobody else can hear. Is there a decibel limit? Then you might make another booth mad because they're fighting about that. But it's not necessarily competition. It doesn't really matter. It's like some name I never heard of, but they're drawing a big crowd and good for them. But they're infringing on other people's sound we couldn't even hear, So you don't have that at a small show. You don't even need a speaker and a microphone in your booth. So something about those small shows, I like the relationships and be able to talk to people actually hearing each other and then following each other on social media and building long-lasting relationships that help everybody become more profitable.
It's fun. Yeah.
That's my high for this weekend that hadn't even come yet.
You know what my high is going to be for this weekend? Shelby ain't going to be there to sabotage the weft. We beaten her time. Okay? Brennan and I'm saying this right now to the whole world. Brennan and I gonna rock her record. That's the only reason. That's my only purpose for this weekend.
So there's a video where weft is put in less than 7 minutes. It's 6 minutes and I don't know how many seconds, but it's just over.
6:58. Not that I matters, but yeah, 6 minutes and
So
58
yeah,
seconds.
so
I care so much about this.
so Brennan puts in a weft in under 7 minutes. And I had a girl named Callie put a weft in, and hers just took a few seconds, maybe a minute longer, 30 seconds longer. I had them both do it unedited, and then I said we're going to use the video of the one that does it faster for the marketing. So I've been using Brennan's video for like a year and a half now. And then in practice in the salon, I know they're putting a weft in, and I'm timing them. And I think Shelby puts it in. I don't remember the exact time, but she puts it in like 4 seconds faster. It was like in the 5-minute range. 4 seconds, then Brennan, because Shelby goes finished, and then Brennan 4 seconds later goes finished. And I'm just thinking, great. And then Shelby goes, 4 seconds faster than Brennan. And so then at the show, she did it in what, 4 minutes and 2 seconds. She put
No,
away.
4:30, 4.5.
You sure?
Yeah, I was 02. I was 5:02.
5:02. Okay.
I was
okay.
5:02. She was 4:30, but that's because she sabotaged my weft, and hers, you know, she cheated on her
How did
beads.
she sabotage your weft? You're just making that up.
No,
So-
she pre-prepped her weft. She gave me some janky ass weft straight out of the packaging and stuff. Yeah, it's okay. It's all right. I still love you, Shelby.
So listen, I did realize there's no doubt she has done things to be faster. I'm going to tell you right now that the weft from the manufacturer, let me just go ahead and make this apples to apples, and then we're going to end this because I think my family's ready to go see some museums. But when the weft first came out, it had a few less beads than it has now. Did you know that?
Oh,
so I had it changed.
Oh, I know, because I start drawing and I'm like, what is happening here? I know you had kept saying we're gonna add more in, but I didn't know when that was gonna happen. And I'm sitting there doing this, and Jude's timing me, and I'm going, there are 3 times. Yeah, I'm like, what is happening? I'm like, come on, man, this is never ending, and it's like they're too close. It's like there's a lot, and I didn't have a chance to customize it. I'm like, okay,
Right.
all right. Still, 5 minutes, 5:02.
So I do realize we need to start comparing apples to apples. Weft, the original wefts were a bead in every third hole. There was 2 empty pockets in between the beads. There was a lot of space to pull through. But a lot of people are starting to cut the wefts up into 1.5-inch wide sections. And so I started talking with the owner of the company, and I said, so something I do is I pull the last couple of the second and third bead and loop out. I'll leave the end one in. I pull the second and third one out and move them closer and add 1 or 2. So I try to do every other hole for the first 3 to 5 on the ends, because that's where the majority of the support is. And that's where people are brushing and pulling and looking and pulling up. And so a lot of the stress is on the ends, and I wanted to secure the ends. He said, well, if you're going to do that, it makes that first 1.5 inch section, instead of having 4 in that section, it makes it have 5, because there's 1 on each end of it. And then 3 in the middle instead of 2. And so he said, instead of just doing it on each end, Bernard, too many people use it in tape-in, size, look, and fashion extensions to not do that to the rest of the weft. So there's 8 sections. So there's there's at least 8 more loops and beads on that whole weft than there was before. So that's going to slow people down a tiny bit. And you know what? I had never seen it with the new bead, because we're just, as the inventory's running out, the new ones are coming in, because it's easy enough for people to add it. He said, do you want us to add it to all the old inventory? I said, well, no, because I can't unpack and repack all this hair like you guys do. And it's good if people can just add a couple of beads or loops if they want to. People are already customizing anyway. I just think it's a nice thing to know that we're always, I don't know what the word would be, but always in research and development, and always trying to improve so that we can impress everybody. So it was just one of the things my staff talked about, I talked about, and the owner said, it's a good idea, Bernard. And I have a lot of ideas that he says no to. So this
But
is
that's
one of
the
the
difference,
ones.
though. We really got our finger on it. We're really, really paying attention to it. We want it to be a great product. We want it to perform the way it needs to for the client as well, too.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, we're constantly in it, and that's really the biggest difference between everything. So I'm glad we got a chance to talk about this. I'm glad you were able to get on for the little bit this morning too. The we're gonna follow up again from the Pennsylvania show next week as well too, and we'll do a follow up from that show. And I
I'm
want
ready for the
everybody
sun.
to do this exercise because it definitely will improve your profitability and it'll improve just yourself in general. Look at
Yep.
every day or every event that you go to. Look at what was the high and look at what was the low, but don't look at it as a negative. It's a total positive because you can have a laugh and you can know where you need to improve upon. And it's a great, great exercise. I really,
Do
really
it with your
enjoyed it.
kids. Do it with your kids at the dinner
Yeah.
table. It's really fun. We ask our children every day at dinner, what was your high and low of the day? Just to see. Sometimes we're surprised at what they didn't like for the day, and sometimes we can fix it, you know? But yeah, it's fun to hear their highs, fun to hear your spouse's high and low, your staff when you do a thing like this. It is. So yes, let's bring it back. High and low so that we can all improve. Thank you, Eddie, for reminding me about this day. Got my shades ready to go see some museums.
You got it. Have fun. And everybody, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys in Pennsylvania if you're going to be there, and we'll catch you all next week.